All right, here we are. Again, I'm gonna put my name on this just in case I did happen to come back and not lose my packet. Today is 9/14 of 2000, and gotta go ahead and do 1-4 homework. For each situation, decide whether there is a constant rate. Constant means continuous, like it's a pattern. If yes, write the rate and complete the rate table. So this is the rate table. Grandma Jackson has 5 plants in each row in her garden. So it would look like that. There's rows. She has 5 plants in every row. Is there a constant rate? Assuming there's like perfect garden, yes. There are 5 plants per row. Now, this is where it gets really weird, where you think 5 plants per row, you put the 5s here and then the rows there. But they're not. They're saying the unit is the row. So for every 1 row, there will be the product, which is the plants. And we would put our 5 here. So for every row, we have 5. So we would add 5. If there's 2 rows, we would have 10. We'd add another 5, and if there's 3 rows, we would have 15. We are simply counting by 5s. So the other way to see this is 3 times 5 equals 15. So that's all we're doing. If this makes sense to you, then you would continue on your own, or you can keep watching. A large bag of potatoes cost $8 at Seasons Produce Store. That's a lot of money for potatoes, I'm not kidding. Is there a constant rate? Yes. It is $8 per bag. The unit is the bag, and the product is the dollar amount. So on my answer key, I wrote doll hairs because of it's a funny movie anyway. For every 1 bag, it's $8. So if we had 2 bags, it'd be 8 plus 8, which would get us to 16. And 3 bags would be the same as 3 times 8, which would be 24, or 8 plus 8 plus 8. So if you were buying bags of potatoes, hopefully those are like 50-pound bags of potatoes or something really big, because you can buy a 10-pound bag of potatoes at Safeway or Fred Meyer's for like $2 when they're on sale. Write a story for this rate table. So they're referring to this rate table. So then it says label the columns to tell your story. So in mine, I'm going to say these are hours worked, because I always like to think about real world like jobs and stuff. And this is the money you would make. True story. In Virginia, you make $7 an hour. I know because my niece lives over there and that's what she was telling me. So I'm just going to say Virginia's minimum wage, I'm just going to put min wage for minimum, is $7 an hour. If I worked for 7 hours, so that's using this table. So if this is dollars, so for every, so over here again, you're multiplying. So this, I always do this at the top. So when something, so up here it's really times 8. They say plus 8, but you're multiplying. this way, when I do the math, I can go 1 times 7 is 7. And if I go the other way, it's divide. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 14 divided by 7 is 2. 21 divided by 7 is 3. So anyway, if I worked for 7 hours, could I afford 8 bags of potatoes from Seasons Produce Store? So that's my question. And I know right now the only thing I need to do to figure this out is if I had 8 bags times 8, 8 times 8 is 64. And I know if I worked 7 hours for $7 an hour, I would make $49. So if I made $49, could I afford 8 bags of potatoes? No. I would need, so if I only made $49 and I needed to spend $64 on potatoes, first of all, I need to change my budget, clearly. But if I needed to go to that, I would go 1 more plus 49 is 50, so I need 1 plus 14, so I need $15 more. There we go. You can make up any story you want. You can just say something simple like if I worked for 4 hours, could I buy a toy that was 20? And yes, if you worked for 4 hours at $7 an hour, could you afford a toy if it was $20? Well, yeah, because you would have 28. All right. Problem number 4. So these are different kinds of puzzles. I actually really do like them. They're not super easy, but they do require you to do a little bit of math check. So how this works is everything is multiply. So we're multiplying here. So you're looking for multiplication. So when they say factors, you should know that means multiplication. So we're multiplying 2 numbers to get an answer. These are factors, and this is actually called your product. So when I'm looking here, I have to know several things. I have to know my facts pretty well, and if I don't, this is very difficult. So if this is harder for you because you're not good with your facts yet, don't worry, you can kind of just practice with me. So really quick, what number goes into 15 and 21? Well, nothing, because 21 is only 7 and 3, and 15 is only 5 and 3. Well, so I guess actually that's not true. They do have a number in common, 3. So these 2 numbers have 3 in common. So I'm going to put a 3 on the outside. Then I'm going to look at these 2 numbers. What numbers go into 15 and 40? 5, because they end in a 5 or a 0. So I'm going to put a 5 here. 5 in both of those numbers end in a 5 or a 0. So they have a factor of 5. So now, 5 times 3 is 15. That works. 5 times what is 40? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. So 5 times 8, so I have 8 dots. So 5 times 8 is 40. That's true. So if 5 times 8 is 40, all you do is put the 8 over here. We don't know what number goes here yet, but we can figure out how many times does 3 go into 21? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. 7 times. So if they're, again, the same number goes on the top and the bottom, it's not a choice. You have to do it that way. That's how the puzzles work. And now we would do 8 times 7, which I know 7 times 5 is, or sorry, 8 times 5 is 40, so 8 times 7 would be 16 more, which would be 56. Next, same thing up and down here. What numbers go into 10 and 18? Well, 10 only has 2 and 5 as your choices, so I know that 5 can't go into 18, so 2 can. So 2, because you're going for what goes into these two, so we'll circle that. Then what goes into these two? So I know the only number that goes 2 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18, so 9 goes here. That means I need to figure out how many times does 9 go into 63. Well, 9 goes into 63 7 times, so 7 would go up here. And the only thing we need to do figure is how many times does 2 go into 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 5 times, and 5 would go over here. Now we would just multiply this number. 7 times 5 is 35. Next, puzzle. Again, we're going to go look at this one. What numbers go into 5 and 35? 5. How many times does 5 go into 15? 3. How many times does 5 go into 35? 7. Okay, and then how many times does 3 go into 18? 6 times. Then we only have one number left. What is 6 times 7? 42. And I'm going to double check. 6 times 7 is 42, 6 times 3 is 18, 5 times 3 is 15, and 7 times 5 is 35. Then I would get my answer key that I have over here. I would check my work. I got this one right. I got this one right. I would make sure my story makes sense. I might have you read this to someone. This is actually what we will be reading in our Zoom lesson, so I'll be listening to what your guys' story problems were there. And then these ones match up here. 5 and 7, 3 and 8, 2 and 7. Got it. So, I got another 100%. Gonna open my front worksheet up. Check off my video that I watched, and I got 6 out of 6. 100%. I have an A+ in math, baby. All right. Have a great day.